Hello, we're in module 3, and this is where you'll be learning all about websites and digital assets. And you quickly learn that your website, it's not a brochure. It is actually your best salesperson. Let me give you a true life story before we go into detail. So, I was a speaker at a conference some years ago. And on the speaker page for that conference, they had my picture and they had a link to my website. So you had this person who did not attend the conference but happened to find the conference online, went to the speaker page, saw me, saw what I spoke about, went to my website, my business website, read everything that she needed to read, which convinced her enough to reach out to me and then hired us. And we would eventually go ahead to work with her for another like a year or so. And that brought like probably somewhere between 5,000 to 6,000 US dollars, all without me doing any marketing. All that happened was she went on our website and the website did the marketing. So you hopefully that starts to help you understand the role of websites in your marketing campaign. And for you who are thinking, wow, our coach must be making so much money. Yes. However, I just said in the beginning that I just finished my pharmacy and public health degree. So the money went into that. So don't come and be thinking what you should not be thinking, okay? But we're grateful to God for businesses that supports our dreams and aspirations, right? And I'm sure that's what you want too, to have a business that will support other things that you have in mind to do. So, in this course, we're going to be going over, in this module, we're going to be going over the role of websites and landing pages in 2026, website structure, conversions, and trust. How do you build trust with your website? How can you replicate the story that I just shared with you? UI, UX, UX, UI, whatever, basics that impacts marketing, mobile first and speed considerations, and no code tools. This is where I want you to listen, 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 because I am all about making sure that you're saving time because this is the generation that we're in. Last year, if you ask my students from last year's SDSC, I told them to not use AI anywhere. Now I had to create a whole new curriculum centered on AI. That's the reality of things in this space. Things change and you have to learn how to move with the change only if it's good. Okay. So that's everything we're going to talk about. Now, just starting right away, role of websites and landing pages in 2026. Again, social media cannot just be it for you, especially you've done your research and realize that your audience, they're researchers. Remember the last module? Okay. They're researchers, they're professionals. Social media is not going to cut it. Social media is not going to cut it. So the question people ask me is, do I need a website? You know the answer to that question. You know how to find the answer to the question. And I'm going to give you another perspective to that question. Think of it this way. You do not own social media. And for those of you who have been in the social media space for quite some time, there are several times that social media platforms have crashed. Instagram has crashed. In the past year, Facebook has crashed. Okay? Social media platforms, they change algorithm, they ban account, they shut down. But your website is yours forever if you put systems in place. And I say if, because if you don't have a spam blocker, one day your website could be gone because you did not block spam accounts and then they took over your website just like that. Okay. So, however, if you put all of those systems in place, your website is yours forever. Even when your Instagram algorithm or your TikTok algorithm significantly impacts your reach, your website traffic remains unaffected if you implement the search engines optimization strategies that you should incorporate and implement. So you see that for a website, you actually own it. But for other social media platforms, you do not. The closest thing to your website will be your email marketing platform, which you kind of own because you have the emails of the people on your email list. You don't own the platform, you only have the emails of the people. So even if you lose the email platform, you always have the email. So that would be like the closest thing to your website. Two, your website converts. A well-built landing page, it could not even be a full-blown website like the SAMLife website, but even if it's a landing page that you have, a one page that is well built, it converts 2 to 5 times way better than a social media link in bio would convert. All right? Keep that in mind. Search engine optimization is the game of winning with website. So if you understand search engine optimization strategies, Google is going to rank your pages, but not just Google. AI platforms will rank your pages and your web pages. AI platforms, they rank our blog posts at SAMLife literally all the time. And the reason this is because we have nailed search engine optimization in these blog posts. I mean, that is what we do. We do SEO for businesses. So of course we need to be able to nail it ourselves. But my point here is once you understand SEO strategies and you nail it, oh my goodness, the way your pages are going to be ranking and the return on investment, it's way better than social media posts. Social media platforms are trying to do a good job with SEO these days, but it still does not come close to what a website would do for you. All right. And finally, data and control. Your website gives you full analytics. Social media gives you choppy analytics. They're not there yet when it comes to full-blown analytics. Your website will tell you where people come from, where they click, where they live, okay, on your website. But social media platforms, they hide this data. You don't have the full picture of what's going on. All right. So when you're now thinking, all right, Ruth, which one should I do? Should I get a full-blown website or should I get a landing page? All right, for this campaign that we will be designing and putting together for our final project, should I recommend a website? Should I recommend a landing page? Should I build a website? Should I build a landing page? What do you think I should do? And I have your answer. I have your answer right here. So, for a full website, right? The purpose of it is to build trust, to educate, and also for your brand to you have full range for branding and for brand awareness. Multiple pages. You have the option to have a home page, an about page, a blog, a shop. You can achieve multiple goals. And it's best when you want to build a brand and you want long-term presence. All right. And I have the different tools that you can use right there. Landing page is good when all you want to do is convert one specific visitor action, meaning one particular goal. You cannot achieve several goals on it, just one particular goal. If you have people who try to achieve several goals on a landing page, but that's not the best use of landing pages. And that's actually, it's a confusing way to use landing pages. For navigation, you want to remove distraction as much as possible. I've seen people, they have like campaign landing pages, and my goodness, buttons are everywhere. It's confusing for me as a potential customer. I don't want to view what you have to tell me anymore because it's just so many distractions. All right. Now, landing pages are best for paid ads, email campaigns, promotions, where you're just focusing on one thing. So hopefully this helps you to choose the right one. And when you choose the wrong one, it can negatively impact and cost you greatly for your marketing campaign. Remember the water campaign that I mentioned earlier? A landing page would suffice for that. But if the company, the pharmaceutical company, if they want In addition to that campaign, they also want to increase awareness. So now we have two goals. They want to increase awareness about their brand. Then making sure that the campaign is built on the website will be the best way to go, because once people have done viewing the campaign, they can click on the logo, the company logo, and it takes them to the homepage of the website. You're achieving two goals with one link. Okay. So for your final project, you're going to need both, because you need a website for your brand presence and at least one landing page for your campaign call to action. So hopefully that answers the question for your final project at least. All right. Hold on for me. Okay, so next up, I want us to talk about website structure and how do you start to build trust and conversions. All right? Because this is an important conversation that we actually need to have. For a highly converting page, these are the things that I want you to look for. So you keep them in mind as you're building yours, or you're looking for examples to build yours with and build yours from. You want to have a clear header, a hero section. If you go to the Sam Life website, and what I will do is I'll pause my recording at some point and show you the Sam Life website and how all of these factors play into the Sam Life website and the page that I will show you. So you have a hero section, a clear headline, all right? Then you also have social proof. In addition to the social proof, you give us features or benefits, depending if it's a product or a service, right? You give us the features, the benefits of what you have to offer, and let there be a clear call to action. And then you have a trust signal as well. Okay. It could be money back guarantee. It could be your about page that tells us more of who you are. And we have a level of understanding about what gives you credibility. But what kills conversions though, when you do the opposite, there's no clear headline. It takes forever for the website to load. You have too many call to actions. It is not mobile friendly, and you just have photos everywhere. And we can't even find your contact information where to get to you because it is buried in the cloud of information that you have. Okay. So now I want us to go through a real life example here before I go to this or the next slide. So let's look at the Sam Life website and see if you can see all those things. See how the website it loaded really quickly. The hero section that I was telling you about is this. You have the hero section. Is the heading, clear heading, best result driven SEO company in Jacksonville. We have our button here, clear. I don't have too many buttons and call to actions. It's just one. Browse our portfolio. That's what I want. And you're there. But we're going to go back because this is not where we want to be. So you have our features, our services. They're right here. And you have about us to tell you of our credibility. Everything is here. And then if you want more, you can read more. We have our case studies, our testimonials, what makes us real, and why you should trust the work that we are doing and our result. We have our offerings here and the amount. And then you also have more testimonials that you can go off of from other people. We even have, again, another trust factor. Who are the team members? Who are the faces behind Sam Life? For those who are just getting to know us for the first time, they need to know who they're going to be working with. And these are the people. Okay? So, and then we have other things, other things, and other things. And then the contact information is literally right here. Easy to find. And even before, for those who don't have to scroll down, see, email us. Easy to find the contact information. So I hope you've learned, and I wanted to give you this practical example and not just teaching you, yes, but I want to show you. Show, don't tell, right? So now that you've seen, hopefully you start to connect the dot. So the next thing is UI UX basics, because as much as you want to follow all of those principles, easy navigation is so important. And as I went through the website, I hope you can tell and say, wow, this is actually a clean website. It's easy to move from one section to the other. So UX tells you the user experience, how it works. Was it easy for me as a customer to go and like find information on the Sam Life website. And then you also have the user interface, how it looks. And both of these directly affect conversions. And there's this 3-second rule. A visitor must be able to visit any page on your website within 3 seconds. So as you're putting together your landing page and your website for your project, and even for future projects that you're going to work on, because life does not end at this final project, right? Make sure that for every page on the website, the 3-second rule applies. Then visual hierarchy. Our eyes always follow size, then we follow color, then we look at position. So make sure that it's legible. Every information on the website is legible. Then look at color. Don't choose a color because it's your favorite color. The color you see on the Sam Life website is not my favorite color. Use color psychology. What is the preferred color for my industry that gets people to take the desired action? That is the color that you should use. And then, excuse me, guys. And then make sure that the position of your text, of your button, everything is visually appealing. White space is not wasted space. And I'll say that again. White space is not wasted space. Some people would like to have dark backgrounds, but you're doing yourself a disservice. White space is always the best. Have a white background because it makes it easy to go from one section to the other without feeling like they need to strain their eyes. And if your pages are so crowded without any white space, it makes it hard to trust your brand because you just put in so much, it feels jumbled up. And then finally, every extra click, form that needs to be filled, or decision that you add, it costs you conversions. So please, please, please make sure that you're not having a lot of distractions. Just have a clear call to action that you want people to take on one particular page. The home page is the exception to this rule because the home page is going to have several buttons. Like as you saw on the homepage of the Sam Life website, there was a link to the about page, there was a link to the portfolio, there was a link to like several other things. But every other page should always focus on one messaging. And the button should focus on one call to action. Okay. Then when it comes to mobile speed, now this will not make sense fully until you start to work on a real website because this is an analytics report. When you when you run the analytics on a particular website, for those of you who have a website, you have a website, for those of you with a website, right? That was a mouthful. A mouthful. You can run the analytics using a tool like Ubersuggest to determine your page speed and your website speed. Now, here are some statistics that I'd like to share with you. 70% of website traffic is now mobile, which means you want your website to be mobile friendly. 3 seconds is all you get before visitors bounce. If I can't load your website in 3 seconds, I'm not going to stay. I have other things that I need to do. 1 second delay equals 7% fewer conversions, and 90 plus Google page speed score is the goal. If your website speed score, according to Google page speed, is not 90 plus, you have work to do. And what are the things that contribute to mobile speed, to improving your mobile speed? Make sure that the text is readable. And what does readable mean? I've made sure that I'm very specific in my teaching. 16 points and upward. Make sure that your images are compressed. And this is important because it helps to reduce the file size. The larger the file size on your website, you're putting burden on the website. It loads slowly. Make sure your call to action is visible without me having to scroll. I can clearly see it. Follow the 3-second rule. Make sure your buttons are large enough to tap. I've given you the point sizing there. Make sure there's no horizontal scrolling on mobile. Let everything be vertical. Make sure that your forms work well on mobile keyboard too. Okay. And for mobile, make sure that your mobile speed, at least for mobile, is 80 plus. On your website, 90 is the goal, but 80 plus is still okay. And I've given you the websites where you can check your mobile speed for those of you who have a website. And if you have a website in the future, you can always come back to this lecture. Okay. So I know. Last year or 2 years ago, you may be like, oh my, Ruth, I don't have money to pay people to design and build my website for me. I understand. But this year, don't come to me with that because you have tools now to help you do this. There's no excuse anymore. And the one I've given you three, but the one I'm going to focus on is the first, which is Lovable AI. And I will show you, remember, show, don't tell. I will show you a website that I created using this platform. You can do it too. And the platform is Lovable AI. What did I do? Yes, I'm sure you can read everything on the screen, but let's have a conversation. I went on ChatGPT. I told it the type of websites that I wanted to create, which was the website for my nonprofit, my public health nonprofit. And I told it everything, every specification, what I wanted. And I said, please give me the right prompt that I would need to use in Lovable AI. This is necessary, and I hope you're listening to me because you will need this for the final project and for future project. This is important because your first prompt that you give Lovable AI will determine the results that you get from it. If you get the first prompt right, your website will come out right. But if you get the first prompt wrong, you'll be frustrated by trying to fix the problem with the subsequent prompt. And if you're using the free version, you don't have the luxury of prompts. So you need to be able to get it right within the first 2, 3 prompting. But always let your first prompt be the best. So start with ChatGPT, give it all the information that you need to give it, let it know what you need, and tell it to give you the best prompt for your project to use in Lovable AI. And that was exactly what I did. Okay. And then from there, I built a website that is just, it serves all the needs for the nonprofit. And I'll show you very soon. Okay. So once again, Lovable AI, you can use it to build your campaign website for this class. Use it. It is free. Use it. I had to pay for the domain name because I wanted to have a domain name. I didn't want to build a non-professional website. But for this project, it's okay. If you cannot get the domain name, that's fine. The domain name was really cheap for me. If for your campaign, if you want it to be a lifelong project for you, you can even do that. Your final project could be something that meets your particular need. You see, I'm not telling you what industry to use. I'm not giving you the exact specifications of this campaign. I'm giving you the liberty to choose the industry, choose the audience and all of these things. So it could literally be a pet project for you. So in that case, if you decide to pay for it and get a domain name, absolutely. Okay. So like I said, I've given you instructions for Lovable here. All you have to do is go to lovable.dev, describe your site, then review and refine based on what you see. Okay. Make the website go live. And then what changes you need to make, then you come back and tell it those changes and it will make it for you. Okay. It's very simple. It's like you're having conversation with ChatGPT. That's why I'm not going into details with it. Very easy as long as you get the first prompt right. Okay. This is a starter prompt template, but you don't have to follow it. What I need you to follow is exactly what I said a few moments ago. Start from ChatGPT, take the prompt in ChatGPT, put it to Lovable AI, and it will save you a whole lot of stress. So for your final project, I want you to build your campaign landing page using Lovable AI, and then you share the live URL with me so I can review it and make sure that you followed all the principles that I shared with you regarding how to build a website and the elements that should go in there. So trust is very important. This is for a healthcare marketing company, the example that I'm sharing with you, but regardless of your company, trust is key. So how do you build trust? First, your website should have HTTPS. The S stands for security and not HTTP. Because if your website is giving security issues, it may dissuade some people from visiting your website. Make sure that it's professional design. And when you use these AI platforms, most of the time it's a modern design. So you don't even have to worry about that in this day and age. Make sure all the links work. I cannot tell you how many times this has been a problem where people build websites and I go on the website and I click on the link that you want me to click and it doesn't even work. It leads nowhere. Or it leads to 404 error, page not found. Have a clear About Us page that tells your story. It's about real people. It tells the story. Have social proof. I just showed you customer reviews and testimonials from other people. Have proof of work. Your proof of work as a marketing manager could be the project that you're submitting here in this course. Have proof of work. Then have authority signals. You see how you saw case study on our website? That's an authority signal. For a healthcare company, like a hospital, they may want to have like research that backs up the work of their medical doctors, of their pharmacists, of their nurses, etc. Then be very transparent. On our website, we have an FAQ section where we answer people's questions. Our pricing is very transparent. So whatever transparency looks like in any of these forms that I've shared here, be transparent. Okay? These are ways that you start to build trust. Just basic trust, you have social proof, you have authority signals, and you have radical transparency. Okay? So as we start to wrap up, for your final project, remember it is required for you to create a campaign landing page. Absolutely required. The website, that's probably a lot to ask from you guys at this point. If you want to do it, sure, but a landing page is absolutely required. Website audit is required too. We'll talk about website auditing and analytics later on, so don't worry too much about that right now. Mobile speed check. You know where to check mobile speed. I just talked to you about it. That's also required for your final project. The details of what you need to do is right here. We've talked about it. I don't want to repeat myself. You can read. You have access to the slides as well. All right. Again, every model builds on the last. So make sure that you're watching these modules in progression. And for the next module, I'm going to talk about social marketing and content marketing. So if you have any questions, you know exactly where to find me. Until then, I'll see you in module 4. Get started with your landing page. Do not wait. Make sure that for your final project, you already know exactly what to do and the industry that you need to choose, and start creating your outline from now. Okay? As you're learning, as you're going through these modules, start the work. Start drafting something. Okay? All right. I'll see you in module 4.